It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Brouhaha. One more time, Dale McKee sitting over here looking at me, Marshall Wood, ready for another show. How you doing, Dale?
I'm doing really well today. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm not going to say. I can aspire to really, but I'm working on it. I ain't there yet, but I bet you before the day is over, I'm going to be really well, too. I'm counting on it.
I hope I have a good day, too.
Well, I was looking at your sideline view, and I see Southern Miss was voted to be finished 5th in the Western Division of the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
That's how many's in the Western Division of the Sun Belt?
And there's
I was expecting great.
Seven.
Okay, so they finished 5 out of 7, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't they have 5 people get on the?
Yeah, their quarter. Well, they had they had 2 on the first team, offense and a defensive player, and then they had a couple on the second team. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later with our guest.
So I'm jumping.
He's gonna talk. He's gonna talk all about the Sun Belt Football Media Days.
Okay.
And how USM and Mississippi State's gonna come out.
Oh, okay. All right. I was kind of excited from a personal note. I may have told you this. I don't know if I did, and if I mentioned this last week, I'm sorry, but I'm excited about it. I'm a football fan. I'm a Manning fan. And I went to school in Tennessee called Baylor, Chattanooga Baylor, and graduated in '75. We won a state championship there, and it was ranked number 1 in the nation in '73. Well, Marshall Manning is enrolled at Baylor now.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah, but there was another interesting thing. Last week, something happened in Major League Baseball that's never happened before.
Did it have anything to do with Marshall Manning?
No, it had something to do with the Baylor school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a guy. He was the 4th overall draft to us last year out of Wake Forest. He had went to high school at Baylor in Chattanooga. Yeah. Last week, he went, if I got all this correct, and I'm just doing this from my head, he had 4 home runs against the Houston Astros. He went 6 for 6. He's a rookie. He's the only rookie to ever hit 4 home runs in a game. He scored 6 runs, drove in 8 runs, I believe, and he had 19 total bases, which is tied for a major league record. And he's a rookie.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
His name is Nick Krutz, Krutz.
Okay. And
he plays for they call him the Oakland A's, even though they're playing out of Sacramento this year, getting ready to go to Vegas. But anyway, he's hit like 23 home runs in like 70 games. That's pretty good.
He's lining it up, ain't he?
Yeah, he's doing really, really well. But he went to Baylor.
Well, okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm excited about that too. I went there.
You have talked about it. Who were some of your famous people that you went to school with at Baylor?
Famous? I know the Hannahs were pretty famous.
Yeah, they were. Big John?
Yeah, Big John. Big John, of course. He was a little older than me.
Okay.
But Charlie and David. Charlie was 2 years older. I played with him, and David was I played with him. Good people. Yeah. They were very aggressive type people. Whether they were on the field or not, they made their mark wherever they went. I want to flip flack back on you a little bit about some local. I'm going off something. I'm counting on you to know this because I really don't know. I know a little bit. See, there's a school up there around Boonville somewhere that's got like 4 or 5 brothers that are all supposed to be. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, well, never mind then.
What are they supposed to be?
There's a private school up there around Boonville somewhere. It's won like 4 or 5 state championships, and one of them just got drafted, and some of them are in college, and they're still some in
Boonville?
8th grade.
I don't know many private schools in Boonville.
Well, what's Heritage? Is it Heritage Academy? Where's that at?
There's a Heritage in Columbus.
Okay. Well, maybe there are.
But the one over in Senatobia, I believe, is the one.
That's the one I was thinking. Senatobia, I think.
Yeah,
is the one.
I can't remember. I know they played locally here at Wayne Academy. Let's see, I'm trying to think of their name. I'll think about it
All right.
before the show's over, and I'll
Well,
just blurt it out.
We'll just blurt out. I'll get to looking at that while you and our guest are talking. I'll see if I can find it. Who's our guest again? We got a surprise guest.
No, we got a back-to-back.
We got a back-to-back. Hey, if we're going to go back-to-back, we might as well do it with Hunter Dawkins.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hunter's going to talk this week. Last week he talked about the Sun Belt, and this week he's going to talk about
No, he talked about the SEC last week. See, I'm rubbing off on you.
Get me straight, okay?
All righty, let's take a break, folks, and we'll hear from our sponsor. We'll be back with tonight's guest, Hunter Dawkins, right after this break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Hunter Dawkins. How you doing again, Hunter? Back-to-back
I'm good.
weeks for this show, and Hunter, that's I want you to know that you made history. We've been in this program for 4 years, and you just made history going back-to-back.
Congratulations, Hunter.
Congratulations. We will send you that prize when we can.
Well, I appreciate that, guys, and that's of course of being history for somebody is always a benefit. So.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we're living in a history moment anyway. Hey, tell us about your Sun Belt Conference media days last week, and concentrate on Southern Miss, but just talk about anything that you want to: players, schedules, maybe key games for Southern Miss this year, and just go. You just go with the flow, and then we'll interrupt you sometime and ask you another question. Okay?
It sounds like a plan. Well, of course, getting there to New Orleans is, the Sun Belt has their media days in New Orleans, which is very well appreciated by a lot of people, and there's a lot more media that show up to that. I guess basically because it's in New Orleans, and they sing some right phrases for that at least. But what the good thing about it was Southern Miss and all the West Division was on Tuesday, and that kind of got the ground rolling, and it was very, very good not only to talk with Southern Miss and their coach Charles Huff, and also with the players Braylon Braxton and Chris Jones, who are two of the top players on their sides of the ball at least. And then I also got a chance to speak with South Alabama's head coach Major Applewhite, because as you know, South Alabama, half of their team is from Mississippi. So, but that being said, it was good. It was a great conversation that I had with Coach Huff. And, of course, before he hit the main stage, where he said that he wasn't really sure why anybody selected, because as you were aware, in the preseason Sun Belt, Southern Miss was selected to finish 5th in the Western Division, which, as Coach Huff said, he's not really sure why they were not picked to be last, because he thought maybe some of the other coaches or media, whoever were involved in the poll, were drinking on Bourbon Street the night before. But that being said, and there is a lot of hope for Braylon Braxton, the quarterback that came in from Marshall, who was Sun Belt Newcomer of the Year last year, and also with Jones, who put up some decent numbers until he got injured later on in the season. But there was a lot of, I don't think I've seen this in the Sun Belt media days that I've covered so far. I've been covering it for about 4 to 5 years, but there was a lot of expectation, and the expectation meaning that it's not, that is Southern Miss going to win some games. It's how many games Southern is not going to win. It's almost like Coach Vincent from University of Louisiana Monroe said that the Marshall team, or otherwise known as the Southern Miss team, is returning as champions this year, and that was definitely brought a little bit of twist, at least in the scenario with the media. But from then on, that it was pretty resolving. It was pretty much okay. There was a lot of coach speak, and I know, Dale, that you know a lot about that coach speak, saying what they're going to do here, what they're going to do there. But any questions you guys from there have, you let me know.
Well, I guess the most interesting thing to me was that they weren't picked last for sure. How did the Marshall?
Yeah.
Did you stay the next day for the Marshall coach?
I didn't stay for Marshall's coach because he was a little bit later on in the afternoon, and I had to get back to do my real job. My real job with which is producing the paper, at least on the Gulf Coast. But that being said, what I had heard from a lot of the Marshall Prospective Athletics Department, which I got to be pretty good friends with last year when they came to Southern Miss before they, stomped up on Southern in the Hattiesburg field. This, of course, obviously before the switch, at least. But but there was a lot of disdain for what was going on and how it was a little bit preemptive. That's the main word on this, was preemptive. And, at the SEC Media Days, the theme really became behind the quarterbacks, or as opposed to this Sun Belt Media Days, really the outcry was, okay, who is going to take on James Madison? That's really the headline team, even though it's a kind of, in the Western Division, it's between Texas State and a little bit of in the West, Arkansas State, or in Louisiana Lafayette. That was kind of a little bit of question. But also, as you are well aware, Dale, it was a lot about the La Tech, and Gill's early discussion, his early speech was about the expansion of the playoffs, the expansion of the conference, if there are going to be that possibility, since Texas State, with them leaving, Louisiana Tech coming in, there was a lot of discussion about, well, where's that going to leave us? Is it going to go up to 16 teams now? Are we going to add in 2? What's the playoff scenario going to be? It was more or less to him, which I did have a good quality speech with Commissioner Gill, and he was kind of unsure exactly what was going to happen on the full scale of things, but he welcomed it. He opened his eyes and said, hey, I am more in favor of whatever is going to give more opportunities to Sunbelt teams.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not the only one that doesn't know what's going on in this college football world. But anyway, now that's Turner Gill. He was the quarterback at Nebraska. Is that the one we're talking about? Is he the commissioner?
No, that's Keith Gill. He was actually, Keith is the first African American commissioner of any large Division I football conference in America. He was the first African American that was named commission. I believe it's his 5th year, but I don't necessarily know if there's any relation to Turner, the former Nebraska quarterback, but I'll check into that for you.
No.
Dale.
Well, I think he's done a great job because he's, Southern Miss came in under his leadership, right? Didn't they come into the conference?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
sir. That is correct.
He's, I think Southern Miss is in a great conference, especially with Louisiana Tech. Texas State probably, I think that was a good move for the Sun Belt because Texas Tech is way out there. What is it around, San Antonio or saying something?
You know what? Actually, Texas State is out there in San Marcos, which is only about an hour northwest of Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
But as you're right, it's a little bit more out there, and I think that not only that, but the Pac-12 kind of opened up their doors to Texas State, and there's this thought that the Pac-12 will be a creation of the Power Five again, but I'm not necessarily too sure based on the teams that they have in the Pac-12, which is virtually the Mountain West coming out again. The only real team they have it's even got close to competition is Boise State, and I think that's pretty much going to leave them in the group of five, or now I guess you would say the group of six scenario, than jumping all the way up to a Power Five.
Yeah, I noticed too that the one of the Ole Miss quarterbacks transferred to Louisiana, Lafayette.
That's right.
Yeah, the Howard
Walker
kid.
Howard.
And I think Walker's gonna do a great job for them. He's got relatives in this area. That he's related to the Howard Industries bunch out of Laurel. And so he was a 5-star.
He was a 5-star. I'm sure he's sitting on top of the pile over there right now.
Yeah, he's probably going to do a great job. So it ought to be an interesting race. I think it's a very competitive division. I don't know much about those Eastern teams, to be honest with you. I just know who's usually the best team. Like one year it was Coastal Carolina, and James Madison has had their run and things like that. But I think everybody's excited around the USM fans around the Hattiesburg area. I think they're kind of excited about what this team might become this year, because it's easy to go up, it's just hard to stay there, and that's what's so remarkable about Nick Saban's tremendous run over at Tuscaloosa. Once you got the bullseye on your back, it's kind of hard to get it off, and everybody wants a shot at you. So Southern Miss, I think every win that they get over one is going to be a plus this year.
Amen.
So and they got an interesting first two ball games. Why don't you talk to us about the Mississippi State game and what they should fear out of Jackson State in that second game?
Well, as I told you guys last week, Dale, too, that me going to the SEC media days, and there was a lot of questions that I asked not only Coach Levy but the players. How is your preparation coming for the Southern Miss? And they really they said, well, Hunter, we can watch some game film from Marshall, but that's virtually the only real scenario that even kind of makes close to sense. It's more of just, okay, well, we do what we have to do. That game is going to be very, very telltale, the signs for both teams. Now, it's not necessarily a win. It's not necessarily a lose-lose situation for State, except for the fact that if they don't win by at least 3 touchdowns, there's going to be a lot of questions, at least coming from the SEC, because they have a tough schedule. Southern, as long as they don't get beat by at least 3 touchdowns or more, I think that's something that's going to move in the right direction, and I think that they can build off the momentum. It's easy to say, well, yeah, this team's going to come in, they're going to wipe the floor with, they're going to get us back to a bowl game, we're going to have a chance to win 10 games, this, that, and the other. That's not exactly true, and I'm sure you guys know that just because you bring in a team that is experienced with each other in another place, that doesn't necessarily say they're going to be able to accomplish the same at this place. And there's a lot of difference between Huntington and Hattiesburg, at least not only the climate, just the scenery, just the different style of life. There's things that are new for everybody. And it's in some ways it's good, in some ways it's just the way it's how you adjust. And I think that their game against State will tell a lot, but then the next week against Jackson State it's 2 different teams in 2 different scenarios. What Southern Miss can come out after those 2, that'll really give you a lot of perspective of how the season's going to go.
If you were going to give us a forecast for the future, what kind of record do you think Southern might have this year? What would be their maybe highest point that they can have in wins? Is it 4, 5, 6, 3? What do you think? If everything went right for him.
As you know, Dale, in my prediction, that I don't get paid money to give predictions, but if I was going to give you a prediction, I would say an early scenario, looking at their schedule, I would say 5-7 would be a great not necessarily a great season, would be a quality season. 6-6 back to a bowl game, that's going to get Coach Huff Coach of the Year in the Sun Belt, getting that team back to a bowl game. And then that's actually probably a more reasonable approach. In my lack of optimism, I'm thinking more of a 5-7, but I don't think Southern Miss should be disappointed at all with 5-7. 6-6 would be, it'd be quality. It'd be a great year for Southern Miss to get back to a bowl game, and they probably would even, if depending on what bowl game they play, if it's New Orleans Bowl, I think they'll win. So you got more of like a 7-6 season at least from them. So.
Yeah, I look at the schedule, just looking at it, before the season starts, and trying to give them some hope. I see maybe a win against JSU, maybe Jacksonville State, maybe Louisiana Tech, and then maybe beat Troy and Monroe because they're ranked behind you in the thing. So I can see 5.
Sure.
Sometimes you win a game you're not supposed to, so you go up to
Exactly.
6, but then you lose a game you're supposed to win. So, I'm like you. Maybe 5-7 would be a good start to the Charlie Huff era.
Exactly. I really think that a 5 or a 6-win season, or 6-win season would be predominantly, great. Everybody should be giving them high fives. The collectives might even pick up a little bit. I believe that if Coach Huff wins 6 to 7 games, he's going to be Sun Belt Coach of the Year.
We probably addressed this somewhere in the last couple of weeks or sometime, but is this the largest transfer number-wise from one school to another ever?
After the fact, yes, sir. After the fact of what Coach Huff said that his expectation before fall camp starts with 80, from my knowledge of when the transfer portal and when the seclusion and among Division I football, that would be the all-time record, having at least 80 turnovers to the Southern Miss football team.
Man,
yes, sir.
That's crazy. I hate to tell you this, Hunter, but we're out of time for today's night segment, and as always, man, we really appreciate you. Like I say, and we congratulate you on your record appearance here at the Brouhaha. We'll see if we can muster up some kind of trophy or something for you. But thank you for being with us. I'm going to ask you to hold on. We're going to take a break, and Dale and I will be back with tonight's final segment of the Brouhaha right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. Big night on the Brouhaha, doubled up with Hunter Dawkins.
Hunter.
Oh, Hunter. You gotta like old Hunter. He got to step up, and he's ready to play. And he just put me in, Coach. I'm ready to play.
He's just one of those guys that he's a joy to get to know. I've met him several times at sporting events down in Hattiesburg, mostly at Southern Miss events, and he's well, really, the guy that got me on Hunter was a guy named Ricky the cartoonist, Ricky Nobles. He's the one that said, hey, you ought to interview this guy. And he gave me his number. And so, I called him up, started talking to him. And then we met at one of Will Hall's press conferences.
Okay.
And so just, our friendship blossomed from there, So we get tips all the time. Our guest next week, he wants to be on our show. Oh. Y'all hear that, folks?
You got a guy calling wanting on, right?
Yeah. So we're excited about that. And but Hunter's just he just likes to give. He likes to help. He's just that type of guy. But now he's he was in Lord, he worked in Washington, D.C.
Bless his heart. I bet
Yeah,
he's glad he got out of there.
Yeah, he was working for one of our congressmen up there.
Oh my, he's
So
been around.
yeah, so he's he can navigate. He can navigate the
Navigate. Now that sounds really uppity, Dale.
navigate. He can navigate.
You're getting high society on me,
Yeah,
Dale.
I mean,
Navigate.
coaches is like politics. Coaches are going to be. They're not going to really tell you the truth. Yeah, we're going to beat them bad this week.
Oh, we ain't no good. Sandbaggers.
I was listening to something on Nick Saban the other day. Eli Manning had a little deal with him where he went skiing with him out there in this lake, Saban's Lake, but they were doing something for ESPN. So Nick Saban says, Eli asked him a question. He said, why won't you let your freshman players talk to the media? He said, when I was coaching at Michigan State, he said, I had a player named Plaxico Burress.
I remember that guy.
And he said, he was a freshman. And he said, and we're getting ready to play Michigan. And he said, we had a pretty good team, but he said, Plaxico, and they asked him a question. And he said, oh man, said, we're going to go down there to Ann Arbor and it's going to be like taking candy from a baby. And Nick Saban said, got a new rule.
Yeah, taking candy from a baby. Oh, we had a discussion, you and I did. I don't know if I started this on the air in the first segment tonight or not about these baseball players' family, or whether we were talking about that off.
Yeah, you said you would find out about them during.
Well, all I did was jog your memory, because when I came up with the name, you knew them already. The Pratt.
Well, I knew two of them. One of them played at USM, and one of them's playing for the Biloxi Shuckers, the AA team of the Milwaukee Brewers.
The guy at USM, he played there last year, correct?
Yeah, he's played the last 2 years.
And so is he still there?
I think he'd come back for another year.
So they got one at Southern. They got
one in the pros.
In the pros. Now there's two more. They got one.
The sophomore, from what you just showed me, is committed to Ole Miss, right?
Okay, that's right.
And then they got an 8th grader.
They say it's the best. I always say the best one.
Yeah,
the youngest,
and they play at Magnolia Heights, which is been a long-established private school up there around the Memphis area.
They win it all the time.
Since October, yeah, they've dominated 7 straight baseball championships.
Wow.
They're up there with the Preps. Except I think they're a division lower than Prep.
Yeah. Are they in the same division that the local school here, Wayne Academy's in?
I think they're in they were now. They've changed it up for this coming year.
Okay.
But at one time they were I guess we call it in public school the class. They're in the same class. Like 5A or 4A. So they were in the same class. A couple of years ago. I think so. I think Wayne Academy played them a couple of years in a row.
I think they did.
Magnolia Heights.
Hung in there with them too, I think.
They did.
Yeah.
Of course, Wayne Academy had some great pitching back in them days.
Yes, they did. They did. Well, I hate to say it, but Dale, we're out of time.
We are?
Yeah, we're about out of time. I'm going to thank you. Oh, look at there. Dropped something. Fumble, but Dale recovered it. Way to go, Dale. Remind you that you can follow us during the week on our Facebook page at the Brouhaha, or you can keep up with all the shows and listen to them on demand on our YouTube channel at the Brouhaha. But again, we thank you for being with us, but it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale, and everybody else. We'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.